Guten Tag, ¿qué tal? Welcome to Langdon. My name is Janek, and today I would like to tell you a story about how I learned all the languages that I speak right now. I speak seven languages right now. It's Polish, English, Spanish, Italian, French, Catalan, Portuguese. And 5 years ago, I could speak just Polish and English. And it all started in 2015 when I started a language course in Spanish. I went to the language school like a normal student. I wanted to spend 1 month, 50 hours, so 3 hours a day, every day. A very intense course. After that, I wanted to go for some vacations to Spain and check out how are the results of my classes. I was studying every day very hard. I was doing my homework. And after this course, I went to Mallorca, and for 1 week, I couldn't have any single conversation because I was unable to tell a story because I didn't know any past tense, and like I was hardly able to recall any word that I learned there during the conversation. I knew perfectly the words that are surrounding me because I learned a lot of list of words. So when I was thinking about them, I could recall them, but during the conversation it was impossible. So I came back home super angry, of course, that I wasted my time and I will do it my way. And I entered YouTube. I wrote how to learn languages, and well, I found some tips, some hints how to do that. I watched 20, 30 videos on YouTube, and main of them, majority of them, said that you have to immerse in the language. It means that you have to surround yourself with this language that you want to learn. In my case, it was Spanish, so I listened to Spanish music. I put settings on my phone in Spanish, and I started watching all series that I knew in Spanish. So it was Friends, How I Met Your Mother, some movies. I've seen I think 3 or 4 parts of Harry Potter in Spanish. And when I was out of ideas, I was watching interviews with Penelope Cruz in Spanish. Whatever, just to listen to it every day. It was 2, 3 hours a day, every day. And on YouTube said that after a few months, you're gonna speak it after listening and not understanding. So I thought, well, they said so on YouTube. It must be true. And actually it was. But that's funny story that after 4 months, I went for some meeting and there were Polish people speaking Spanish, and I finally started understanding because when you listen to a native speaker, they speak very fast, they use accents, slang. It's really hard to understand. But when you're talking to a student of heuristics, they use proper tenses, they don't use slang, they speak slowly without very strong accents. So I was able to understand them. Amazing. And that gave me a lot of motivation to go on these meetings because every week I was better and better. So every Sunday I was there spending two hours mainly. But after that I was tired really much, as if I ran a marathon. Because when you are bombarded with the vocabulary and the grammar structures all the time, you have to be super focused to understand what's the topic, not to get lost, not to disturb other people. Your brain is doing really, really hard job, but thanks to that, you develop your language skills really, really fast. And I guess no one can force itself to learn that hard at school or something. So that was really productive. Later on, I met a girl from Spain, so we were speaking Spanish every day. I went to Spain for 6 weeks, and there I was totally immersed because everything was in Spanish. Like in shops, restaurants, everybody was speaking Spanish. Radio, TV, of course. Obviously, the family of the girl that I visited spoke just Spanish and Catalan, if it helps. Of course not. And they were speaking to me in Spanish, and I had to understand it because otherwise I don't talk to people at all. Because even young people don't speak English there. And that was school of life. I had to learn language really, really fast. So when you want to learn a language, you have to define what motivation you have. I thought I had big motivation to learn a language before going to Spain, but there I knew that this motivation was really, really huge because without it, you don't communicate with people. So in this moment, you really want to uh, speak it. And after that, I came back home, and I realized that in 1 year I was able to learn language from YouTube, and it was just 1 year, and I'm able to communicate with other people. So why not to do it in another language? And I studied Italian, and it worked. It was even faster because I already had the grammar structures. I knew some vocabulary is very similar because sometimes instead of theon you say zione, and you got Italian out of Spanish like this. So instead of declaración you say declarazione, pronunciazione, and done. Italian. You speak Italian out of nothing. Of course, you have to get accustomed to a lot of differences. That instead of hola che tal, you have ciao come stai. So that there are a lot of differences. So don't get so excited that with one language you can speak five of them. No, it's a lot of job, a lot of time. But obviously, other language help. So after learning Italian on YouTube and with friends, I decided to learn French. But before that, I went to Catalonia for 2 months to work there. And Catalan is super similar to both Italian and Spanish, more to Spanish. And just by listening to people on the streets and listening to the radio and TV, I was able to grab the vocabulary. I was asking some questions. I translated some songs. I had a notebook with the lyrics that I liked, and I translated Catalan to Spanish using a pencil and a piece of paper. And I started to communicate in Catalan, and then French, and then I thought, okay, Portuguese is missing, and I played some series on Netflix in Portuguese. And after 3-4 months of listening to Portuguese on Netflix, I started to talk with my friend from Brazil in Portuguese, and it was working. It was, of course, step by step. It wasn't super fast, but yeah, it worked. And the more languages you speak, the easier it is to learn, as especially when you're learning from one family. Romance languages are all based on Latin, so it's super easy to learn one after another. Obviously, you will not have that advantage when you're learning Spanish and then Swedish. They are super different. Like, the advantage you have is that you have the knowledge how to learn a language, but still, it's not so helpful with grammar or vocabulary because they are super separate. But if you want to become a polyglot really fast, if you really want it, I suggest learning languages from one family, like, I don't know, Romance family. So like I did Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, French, Catalan. You can learn Slavic languages like Russian, Polish, Ukrainian, Czech, Slovenian, Slovakian, Croatian, Macedonian. Or Scandinavian languages like Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. I think Swedish and Norwegian are even more similar than Italian is similar to Spanish. So maybe if you would like to become a polyglot, start with Scandinavian languages, as they are more similar to English and German, and grammar doesn't exist almost. There are few tenses. There is no verb conjugation. And they're really nice. You feel like singing when you speak them. So yeah, that's my story, and hopefully I will inspire you to become a polyglot. Thanks for watching. Adios, auf Wiedersehen.